Hey everybody, so welcome back to A Moment with Marta. I didn't do a video last week because I was taking part in the Children's Oasis Foundation Autism Walk, and I actually did a live Moment with Marta. So that was really cool. Today, what I'd like to talk about is echolalia and scrolling. So echolalia is simply what it sounds like. If you take the root of the word echo, it literally means to echo, to repeat, to copy. So this is used as a form of communication when somebody that has autism has a hard time grasping the words that they're wanting to use. Sometimes they'll utilize phrases that they've heard from people, from movies, shows, that come out of a book, anything that they might have heard from somewhere, and they use that language instead to convey what they're feeling, what they mean, that kind of thing. So, for example, if I thanked my son for doing something. He all the time takes out the recycling for me. He's very thoughtful that way. Really sweet, bright, thoughtful kid. And so he'll take out the recycling and I'll tell him, thank you. He might say, thank you. And he'll use the same exact inflection and everything. But obviously he's meaning you're welcome. He's just not able to process the information and grasp the right words at the right moment. In his head, he's saying you're welcome, but what he's able to access verbally is thank you. So that's just one example. Another example is I live like a block from the grocery store. And so a lot of times I'll just make like little daily trips to get the different little things that I need. Well, my family was situated with dinner and a movie, and I realized I'd forgotten something. I ran over there really fast to go and grab whatever it was that I needed that day. I come back and I find out that my son was very upset that I didn't say goodbye. And so he said, "She didn't even say goodbye." And that's from Charlotte's Web. That's what the pig Wilbur says to Charlotte about Fern leaving. So he was really upset that I left. Those were the words that he meant. He literally was upset that I didn't say goodbye, that I didn't tell him where I was going, and it really stressed him out. And so that's the language that he was able to access in order to convey how he felt. And I felt awful. I guarantee you, I haven't done that since. I let him know exactly where I'm going, when I'm going, so he doesn't feel that anxiety. But those are examples of how he's used echolalia before. He's also repeated things that he's heard from kids in his classroom or from other adults, and they're ways for him to express what he's feeling when he can't access the language that he needs in that given moment. There's been a few times where he'll say, "I need to go to the bathroom," and he's not really needing to go to the bathroom. It's a stress go-to phrase. It's a phrase that he heard another kid say in order to escape a task or escape a stressful situation. So for him, it meant, I feel stressed. I want to get out of this situation. And so he might say that, but it's not literally, he really needs to go to the bathroom. And so knowing some of those nuances, that's kind of what echolalia is. Now, scrolling is, if you think about when you're on a computer and you're scrolling through, or you're on your phone and you're on Facebook and you're literally just scrolling through all of your news feed, figuring out what all there is, that's exactly what it is. That's the mental picture of what's going on. And I do this, and I didn't realize that that's not something that everybody does until recently. So when I speak, I visualize in my head what I'm saying, and so I can remember exactly word for word an incident that happened. If I'm relaying a story of some sort, if there's something that happened earlier in the day and I'm trying to relay the information to my husband, I will actually picture the words and then I'll relay it word for word exactly what happened, or I'll relay, a conversation I had word for word exactly what happened. And he kind of, joked with me about it, saying, yeah, if you wanted to summarize, you probably would have to practice, because I'd have to visualize that summarization. So that's kind of what happens, and you'll kind of see kids like my son and my daughter. There are times when they're searching for the right word, they're thinking about things, they're processing the information, and it literally is like they're just scrolling through, where's the word, oh, here it is, yes, or here it is, thank you, and you kind of zero in on it. And there are times where you're not able to, you're just scrolling and scrolling, and you can't picture what the word is, you can't figure out what it is that you're trying to say or convey. And then of course that just leads to some frustration. But you can see it. You can see somebody when they're kind of scrolling, like thinking about what's the word that I'm trying to look for that means what I'm trying to say. And it's just all about processing that information and trying to convey what you're meaning in that given moment in time. So for people on the spectrum, memory is not linear like it is for a lot of neurotypical people. So for your average neurotypical person, you have this linear timeline of, I remember I did this last week. I remember I did this 2 years ago. I remember I did this when I was 5. Those are the types of memories that you have. But if you imagine a bag of marbles, just dump them on the floor, and those are all your memories when you are on the spectrum. You just pick one up and you have no idea where they are in relationship to the timeline. And so you visualize it and you pinpoint that given moment. And it's a little bit discombobulating because it's so fresh and it's so real. So it's almost as if it's just happened. And so because the memory doesn't work in the same way, it can be really difficult to access that language. And so it can cause scrolling to go on when you're trying desperately to think of, okay, what was it that happened? What's the word that I need to say in this situation? Things that just come naturally to other people that don't come naturally to those that are on the spectrum. And so when you are communicating with somebody that has echolalia, that does scrolling, utilizes some other form of communication, 1- and 2-word phrases, sign language, pictures, what have you, what you want to do is just slow down, talk low, talk slow, and give them time to process what you've said. If you've asked a question, just wait, maybe just a beat, to give them a chance to just kind of process what it is that you've said, and then repeat. It gives their brain a chance to kind of process, go through that scrolling, be able to zero in on the right phrase, or maybe it helps them give an indication that they're just having a hard time processing in that given moment in time, or they're having a hard time being able to relay what they need to relay at that given moment in time. So I grew up watching John Wayne. My dad was big time into Westerns, and one quote that John Wayne said, and I love, and it's so apropos, is talk low, talk slow, and don't talk too fast. And it's completely appropriate when you're trying to interact as a parent, a caregiver, a teacher, a therapist, a doctor, or even just somebody out in the community. Talk low, talk slow, and don't talk too fast. Until next time on A Moment with Marta. Bye.